You remember a while back, it wasn't that long ago. Well, what are we talking about here? 8 months or so? There's a big talk about a gold audit. Going to run down to Fort Knox, and Leon Musk and old Donald Trump is going to bust the doors down in there, and we're just going to poke around a little bit and have us look see at all the gold. And it's still there. It's fine. And that never happened. And it's never going to happen. We just don't talk about that anymore. Look over here. Look at some shiny stuff. There's stuff in Ukraine also. We just don't talk about it anymore. And isn't that peculiar? I'm going to show you a few pictures, hopefully they come out decently. Sometimes the format doesn't work out great, and I'm not the most technically savvy guy, let's be honest. These are some pictures of some bills, some notes, if you will. And what is a note? Well, it's, you might have a note on your car, your note on your house. It means somebody owes somebody. But that's what we're given with to deal with, currency and what have you. And anyway, we got some money from the old Soviet Union. Got a little bit of old French money from the 1800s. Got some Chinese money from way back when. The Mexican peso. What do all these things have in common? Well, like I said, they're notes, and they're not really worth anything anymore. Now, if you got one in pristine condition, it might have a collector's value because, well, they're not commonplace anymore. They're not worth anything. Funny how that happens. Here's one more note I want to show you. This one's a bill, actually. You suppose you can still go and trade that in at a bank and get $1 worth of silver? Probably not. But hey, things change, times change, changes in the wind. It's crazy. We've already seen the deletion of the penny. Have you paid any attention at all to the gold and silver markets? Probably not. You're busy. Most people don't understand how they work. It's interesting now. They say the price of gold is at over $4,000. I believe it's $4,060 per ounce. Now, when I first started getting interested in coins and gold, and mostly for the historical value, it's just like those bills, those notes. I own a lot of those. They're not worth anything. Mine are all in tattered condition and dirty. A lot of times shop owners just give them to me. There's, the artwork is fascinating, and the historical, I got the information now on the bill, and I can go and look that up, and that's interesting to me. But was I rattling about? Oh, yeah. The price of gold, they say. And that's not, the price of gold isn't changing. Your dollar is losing its purchasing power. So when I first started getting into this, one could buy an ounce of gold for $263. I thought that's a fortune at the time. I didn't have much money as a young guy starting a family. 260, what? I ain't got that kind of cash to throw around. Well, now your dollar has lost so much purchasing power that it takes 4,060 of them to buy that same 1 ounce. Makes it seem like 260 whatever dollars is a discount, and a steep one at that. Silver, when I first started, this is around the year 2000. That was about $6 an ounce. You had to pay about $7.50 or $8 to get some. Well, now that's $48. It's been over $50 a couple times here recently. So, it takes more of your dollars to buy the same quantity of a precious metal. Now, the political pundits, the financial hoo-has, they're going to tell you that, that gold is an old relic. Are we still talking about gold? Get out of here. It's almost like the old Epstein files. Are we still talking about that guy? I mean, get that crap out of here. But it's interesting with gold and silver, and, the money managers will be like, that's really an antiquated thing, the trouble with that is, how's come it is that every time the markets are starting to go poo-poo, all the central banks of governments around the world start buying en masse and accumulating and hoarding primarily gold. Why is that? Historically, gold has been a store of value. What are we talking about, the last 5,000 years? I'm going to deal in that timeline. It's been a store of value for wealth. Now, silver has been considered more of like a bartering item. It's money for the population, for the people. You can trade it, you could barter with it. There's still a store of value. You got to mine this stuff out of the ground. The beautiful part of it is it can't be counterfeited by governments and printed to the moon, I don't know, say to the tune of $38 trillion. You can't do that with precious metals, and that's why they took us off the gold standard. Good old Nixon. What was that, 1971 or so? We don't need that anymore. And I think it was Germany tried to, the United States was holding German gold for them, and Germany said, well, we'd like our gold back, please. And I think it took them 6 years or 8 years or something. You can look it up. Took a minute because they didn't have it. Well, somebody had it. Anyway, my advice to you, now I'm not a financial guy. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't really give, I'm not in that world. But if I was just a guy that might give some random advice to somebody, I'd tell you to lay your hands on some of this. And if you're going to deal in coins, at least in silver, for the United States, 1964 is your cutoff. 64 and back was 90% silver. 65 going toward present day, it's crap. It's zinc and some alloys, copper, pot metal. I don't know what they're putting in there. It's not silver is my point. But I'd lay my hands on this. Now, a lot of the financial gurus too now, they might start getting in on it, and they might say, well, you want some certificates. Shows that you own some gold or silver or platinum, rhodium. You don't want to do that. That's no different than your bill. If you do not have it in your physical possession, you don't own it. And when the house of cards comes down, and like I showed you in the pictures of all that currency that's now not worth anything, the house of cards always comes down. And when it does, you're going to want something either to barter with, maybe buy a little bread, or to try to store and retain your value, your wealth. And that's where gold would be more of it. But you can buy gold in fractions too. You can buy it in gram bars, little bitty things. I think that now is about $125 each, somewhere around in there. You could barter with that if you're of a mind to. My point being here, it's still all on sale, especially silver. Silver historically has outperformed gold when the markets go to crap, percentage-wise. And they're using it in all this solar crap and industrial stuff, and there's a demand for it, huge demand. Companies like J.P. Morgan have been suppressing the price of silver. By the Constitution, it's supposed to be worth 1/16 the ounce of gold. The trading value now is roughly, 88 to 1 instead of 16 to 1. Not much of a ratio. Point being, if you don't know anything about anything, I'd lay my hands on some, and I'd do it quickly. We've already done away with the penny. What do you think that's going to do to everything? And people don't use even cash anymore. And in my estimation, you need to use it or you're going to lose it, and you are going to lose it. But you can prolong this by actually using it, but you don't. You use your card. Why? I don't know. Convenience, I guess. You want people knowing what you're doing, and then there's the part of that argument where they say, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, what difference does it make? Because I don't need that crap clustering up my phone or my... You don't need to market to me. I'm an adult. I'm capable of making my own decisions. I don't need to be advertised to and tracked and traced. And what's he buying? How much did he buy of that? What is he going to do with all of that? Let's just, have a look-see around in this guy's life. And then it's none of your business. It's nobody's business. I'm going to buy some more saw blades and dole them up, hang them on the wall, acting like I'm going to sharpen them, and never do. Doesn't matter. Point of the video is the same. If I was somebody that didn't have any, I'd be looking to get some. Even at these quote-unquote inflated prices. And they will quickly give you an ROI more than any bank. And long after your bank has folded and collapsed and gone bankrupt and whatever else, run off with your life savings, you'll still hold something of value. And that's important. Especially when everything else has gone to seed. That's my take on it. You can put your comments, as always, down in the doobly-doo with your jazz hands. Get the thumbs. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, thank you for watching. Appreciate your time, as always. And I'll see you next time.